Somebody lose you? You're beautiful. Welcome back to another episode of Eric's Camping Adventures. We're going to go on another search today looking for some beautiful places. I am headed out today. I have my tent, I have my sleeping bag, I have everything I need, some meals, but I want to check out the area. Not real certain about it. There are a couple reasons I just want to check it out first. One, the area is surrounded by some private ranch land. I scoped it out on Onyx Off-Road, and some of the access is questionable to the area as to whether or not the actual trails are on Army Corps land or they are on private land. So I'm going to check it out, see if they're passable, see if it's gated off. I really don't want to go on private land. And the other question is safety. So one of the reasons I had some safety concerns is, well, it says it's an abandoned campground. I don't know what that means. It does look like there's some old, maybe Jeep trails around from the satellite view on Google Maps and Onyx Off-Road. I don't know if the private ranchers have been watching a lot of Yellowstone and overwatching the biker scene, you know. Who knows, but yeah, it's just not an area I know much about as well, nor have any real contacts in the area to know what it is like. So yeah, we're just going to proceed with caution here and check it out. I did email the ranch in advance, letting them know that I'd be south of their property. You just kind of never know what you're going to encounter with folks. You don't know if they're suspicious of people being on their land. So Onyx Off-Road will tell you the owners of the private land near the public land, and just because there were some roads that it's hard to tell even on Onyx Off-Road where the land was at and where the road was at. I just googled the name of the ranch and I noticed that there was some legal action between the ranch and some neighbors. So yeah, just paying attention, make sure they don't think they're Yellowstone. pickup truck behind me with a rooftop tent on it, so we might have an overlander. The pickup truck with the rooftop tent followed me all the way to the entrance to public land, and as soon as it saw that I entered that area, it slowed down and turned around and went the other way. The Hulah Lake Dam was built by the Army Corps of Engineers and was finished in 1961. The public land that I'm interested in is in those rolling hills off to the left side of your screen. Winters in Oklahoma are pretty dry. Not a lot of rainfall, a lot of browns, but we did have some rain just before this outing right here, and we're going to find some of these areas are a little bit more watered than usual for this time of year. Judging from the frequent occurrence of the cow patties, I'm assuming that some of this land is also leased for grazing. There is a beauty in the desolation, but desolation didn't last very long right over the ridge here. Well, I don't think that was Rip from Yellowstone. He did wave back, so apparently he was either checking on the cattle or checking an oil lease, and I just proceeded on down the trail. The lake is starting to come back into view, and you might notice on Google Maps that all this area to the west is listed as public land with public access. I did check this area out on Onyx Off-Road before I came, and it's listed very differently. Very important to know what kind of land you're on before you go, and I'm just hoping that Onyx Off-Road is up to date. There was definitely some water sitting in some of these lower areas, and clearly the one area for camping was completely flooded out. Well, that looks like the road is washed out. There must have been more rain in this area than we had down in Tulsa. Satellite view on Google Maps does not show the water getting up this far towards the low water bridge. I am going to grab my shovel and I'm going to stick it in the water just to see how deep this is. It's pretty murky. I can't really see through it, so just going to poke in there a few places and see what it looks like. When probing in, it was pretty uneven. Couldn't really tell where the bottom was, and frankly, there's nothing on the other side of a little wash that I could winch to pull myself through if I needed to. Well, that's probably the end of the line here, getting to the, quote, abandoned campground. It's called Skull Creek Campground. And, you know, I could sit here and throw a bunch of rocks into that washout, but I kind of need my back on Monday morning for work. So I think I'm going to turn around, go back and check out that one spot going out to the lake. There's a couple fire rings there. See how exposed it is to wind, which looks pretty exposed. Or I could go back up near the dam where there's another campground up there. So that's kind of the end of my exploration. Yeah, that's disappointing that this is a washout, but yeah, not going to get through there today. Yeah, it's a little wet out here and definitely damp and cold, and no protection from the wind out here. What I was thinking was I could take a tarp and I could drive my tires over the edge of the tarp and then prop the rest of it up with my poles, and then maybe set my tent up in here. Boy, sometimes you don't think this Jeep heater works at all, but boy, you notice it when you get back in after that out there. So I'm just scrolling on my phone here right now. It says it's actually 42 degrees, but the wind is making it feel like 31. It's coming from 11 miles per hour from the northeast, and 72% humidity. That's what makes it feel so stinking cold, is that high humidity makes the conduction of the temperature into your body very easy. So I'm going to look around for something a little more protected from the wind and see what I find. That building up the hill and off to the left is the vault toilet. There definitely is a little bit of a creepy feel out here, so maybe it's not just all the temperature of the wind and the humidity. It's just a little creepy. I don't know specifically about this land that I'm on right now. This is Army Corps land, or at least right-of-way back into this Army Corps public land. But as I researched this area after I was kind of investigating my creepy feel, I learned that one of the most famous unsolved murder mysteries occurred here in Oklahoma history. EC Mullendore was the heir of one of the largest cattle ranches in Oklahoma, and particularly this area, and you can travel down Route 10 just west of here, and you will find the entrance to the Crossbell Ranch. The Crossbell Ranch was a 130,000 acre ranch in this area of Oklahoma, and in 1970 he was beaten and shot between the eyes and left for dead. His bodyguard, Damon Chubb Anderson, was also shot, and there were lots of questions about this crime scene being compromised and who was involved, and it was never solved. Apparently at that time, the family, the Mullendore family, owned the New Orleans Saints football team. The Mullendore name was the other name that appeared on that legal action that I found before I came to this area. There is a book called Footprints in the Dew by Dale R. Lewis that is available on Amazon. And then there is a second book called The Mullendore Murder Case by Jonathan Quitney. And he apparently, at least in the subtitles, speculates that it was the mafia that took out EC Mullendore because of his $12 million debt. He had a big insurance policy. If you want to learn more about this unsolved murder, you can read on Wikipedia, where I got most of my information, and you can look in some other areas on the internet and find lots of speculation about what occurred. But I got to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad I didn't stay down in that area that was windy, creepy, and cold. And I probably, had I known this at the time that I had driven through here, I probably wouldn't have kept driving through. I probably would have left. Well, my determination is that this is just kind of gross. There is a lot of trash here. Definitely not maintained. I'm kind of curious why it's left so open, not being maintained. I mean, the ramps to the lake are not maintained. The campsites are not maintained. You look over at this one here, and there's tabletop's been removed, probably by vandals. And you know, they're not here during the day, right? So I'm not sure I want to spend the night here. You know, sometimes I would just clean up, but I think I'm just going to leave that thing right there. I'm going to go check out the official campground that is maybe open. I did take one last detour on this side of the dam, and that was down to a private, maybe picnic area. I don't know if this was a campsite or not. Still kind of poorly maintained. and I'm gonna kind of look and see which way the wind's gonna go, because I was thinking of like driving my tires over my tarp on one side and then propping it up on the other side and put my tent underneath, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That'll work with a small wind, with a low velocity wind, but not with a swirling wind that's high velocity.
Right. All right, well, keep me informed.
All right, I'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye. So I think I'm gonna move on here. That was Hulah Lake, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, it's kind of disgusting. I just can't, there's not much beautiful about it, at least in wintertime. It's brown, abandoned, dirty. It's maintained by volunteers, you know, and that's probably hard to get a lot of help there. So I don't want to be too judgmental, but I'm going to look for something else. There's another lake just down the road here. It's called Copan Lake, and there are some areas off of Route 10 that may have some potential for some wide open spaces and quietness without the weirdness. A little weird that, like, on the road here, the road's totally abandoned, there's nobody around, but going back in those areas where there's oil leases and probably ranch leases, there's at least 2 vehicles back in there. One you saw on video, the other one you did not. Yeah, that was weird. Nothing on the main road here on Route 10, but on the abandoned campground, there's a couple people checking oil leases this morning on Saturday morning. My first impression pulling into the Osage Plains camping area was all of the peppered trash along the side of the road. Maybe it can't be seen when this all grows up in the springtime, but sure is visible right now. The trash didn't get any better as I proceeded into the campground. As I got out to the furthest point, there was a abandoned tent fail. And there is a big old Great Pyrenees coming towards my Jeep. He could be on a wide patrol around looking for predators around his area where there's livestock, but he also could be abandoned. These are awesome dogs. Somebody lose you? Lost your home, huh? You're beautiful. Yes, you are. I never seen a Pyrenees I didn't love. My earlier peanut butter and jelly sandwich wasn't quite enough, so I finished off my yogurt and let this dog lick out the container. My dog likes it too. He thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread. Maybe the gray, overcast skies were getting to me, but absolutely nothing about this area was appealing to me to spend a night out here alone for solitude. I am curious if some of this mess was from the recent tornado and high winds that came through this area, but maybe some of it's due to budget cuts with staff of the Army Corps. Just not sure. Well, I would say that was just pretty disgusting. There's trash everywhere along both sides of the road here. I'd say there's a lot of stuff that happens here probably at night, and hey, I was looking to camp overnight, so I think I'm actually just gonna head home, and I'm just gonna call this a bust today. Well, as far as camping goes, this was a bad day, but if you're a dog guy, this moment right here, all worth the trip. Hey, thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching another episode.